Hi, Sahib.
How's it going, Ahmed?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, doing well.
At the beginning, just to tell our audience about what is Cisco's vision about the new firewall landscape and what Cisco is doing to address that.
Yeah. I think part of what we're doing with the firewalls is actually we need to take it a step back a little bit and think of where we're going with the go-to-market in general. Because firewalls is basically the core foundation about everything that we do. But what differentiates us, what we do in the firewall space, is actually also how all the other things that we do in security complement that layered on top, right? So the firewalls are here to stay. I think there are conversations in the industry sometimes. It's like, is the firewall here to stay? And, are we all going everything cloud-based? I personally think, and that's what we see at Cisco, the firewall's here to stay. An element of firewall will not go away, right? And we see that. But what we're doing is obviously building on top of what we do with the firewall space, but also the functionality. So perfect example is things that we do with the Cisco Security Cloud.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about the multi-cloud, and it's really good thing that you mentioned that the firewalls are here to stay, because I think the perception in the market, which we need to push more, that Cisco is a big security company, and firewall is a very, very strong element in that context, if that makes sense. So telling our partners and our customers about what Cisco firewalls can deliver and can bring to the table is something really, really essential, which I think we don't talk about much, which we will. So Cisco is now adapting or launching what we call multi-cloud, which is basically a platform will be provided as a service in order to address all the cloud needs. And the good thing about that it's now firewalls are included as part of that. So the likes of SASE, ZTNA, which is Zero Trust Network Access, going to be included and going to be part of the main firewall functionalities, which is Cisco's actually now adding to the market, which is going to be a big differentiator, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And as we can see that a lot of these functionalities comes combined with the other Cisco products, which are in the market, such as the likes of Duo and Umbrella. So you can think about when all that is actually combined with Cisco Firewall, what can we bring to the table?
Yeah.
But I want to ask you also, so from a partner perspective, how this is going to be affecting our partners, what benefit they're going to be getting out of that from a commercial perspective. Let's talk about this. Yeah.
And I think wanting to be open and honest with our partners, I think we do need to acknowledge, with us in Cisco and on the firewall space, I think we've seen that the level of innovation in the past, I would say, let's say 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Probably wasn't where we needed to be.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think some of our partner community, the customers, have sort of noticed that, right? So when we sort of see the evolution from a firewall space where we went from ASA over to the firepowers and now we call them secure firewall, I think that middle piece, I think the level of innovation, quite frankly, we've let the ball drop there a little bit.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, I think we can definitely now draw a line there as well and actually say over the past 12 months or so, like you mentioned, the capabilities that we've put into those firewalls are changing the game to a certain degree, right? Things like SD-WAN capabilities on the firewalls. You mentioned secure access, that we're able to bring that in through our CDO platform to manage all of these firewalls, right? Multi-cloud defense. So we're really putting a lot of innovations into the firewall piece.
Yeah, that's actually very true. And it doesn't only limit it to that. So we brought also Cisco brought the EVE, which is the encrypted visibility engine, which is going to be a very, very good add value when you look at how this is going to affect you, the way you manage your policies, how you can actually orchestrate and automate those policies, so you don't need to do that heavy lifting work, if you wanna call it that way. So I think this is a step on the right direction. Also, I want to say emphasizing or strengthening the position of features such as the data loss prevention, egress security, east and west traffic segmentation, which sometimes can be a challenge for people deploying these firewalls. It's going to be something really, really good when we bring to the table. And the thing I like actually that Cisco have actually put this all into a very good context, which is multi-cloud security, because everyone is going to the cloud these days and cloud adoption is a reality. So when you put the firewall on top of all that, Cisco firewalls on top of all that, and you add the AI, for example, which is going to be really, really add value, because it's going to automate the entire process. It's going to make the job of an admin really, really easier when it comes to managing those policies, automating this policy, analyzing these policies as well. Yeah. So the firewall can actually take decisions on your behalf. You don't need to step in to do that as well. So that's something which I think really, really important.
And that AI piece you mentioned, Ahmed, is massive for us.
Yeah.
AI, it's a bit of a buzzword.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's talking about it, and it's like, yeah, hey, the stock price. I think there's an internal joke
Yeah.
one of our CEOs made, Chuck. He sort of said, you know, every time I mention AI, the stock market kind of goes up a little bit for us, right? So this is just for the stocks that I have in Cisco. I'm just mentioning it for that. But jokes aside, AI is massive for us.
Yeah.
It really underpins everything that we're doing in and around security. It's going to be really, you know, best way to describe it, it's going to be in the fabric of everything that we do.
Yeah.
Right. That will include firewalls. And you mentioned the AI assistant.
Yeah.
That's massive in terms of how that's going to change what the customer or the admin of a firewall is going to be able to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's going to change the way they work.
Exactly.
It's going to simplify the way they work.
Exactly.
So that's a huge, huge game changer. And I think one of the key things that I think partners and customers need to understand is that the AI assistant that we've built, the Cisco AI assistant for the firewalls, is actually something that we've built from the ground up. Right?
Which is
it's
really
not an
good.
API integration. I think that's really important to understand, because there are sometimes conversations of, is this just something that's integrated to some sort of external AI? That's not the case. This is Cisco created AI assistant built on something.
No, I completely agree with you, because when you look at the features which comes with the AI, and one of these features, as a technical guy, I really think about a lot, which is policy analyzing. That's really massive from a technical point of view. I'm telling you that because sometimes I need to look for security personnel. They need to look into the logs, for example, of the firewall in order to be able to analyze what's happening on their environments and security breaches, threats, etc., etc. So imagine an engine that can do that for you. Imagine an engine that can actually look into that log, and actually tells you what you need to do, what you need to look at, what you need to focus on, which is really, really good. Yeah. And one of the really, really good things, I think, again, as a technical person, because back in the old days, deploying a firewall on the cloud was really a challenge, because you don't know where you're going to deploy it, how you're going to secure your applications. So imagine when there is a multi-cloud that you can actually include all your products. So if you are a Cisco guy product, for example, you can actually integrate your firewall with your Cisco umbrella. And imagine, for example, with this integration, when it happens and you can see the logs coming from umbrella to your firewall, the policy analyzer can actually do that for you. So the AI assistant can kick in and it can do the job, which is going to be really, really easy and really, really good thing to do, if that makes sense. And one of the things, I know that we're not going to be focusing on today's podcast, but the acquisition of Splunk, if you ask me, is really, really good, because looking at Splunk as a SIEM solution, when you integrate that SIEM solution in a platform that can actually act like an XDR. So imagine your firewalls, your umbrella deployment, your endpoint protection deployments, any deployment you have into the organization, and it doesn't have to be Cisco, and that's, I think, one of the beauty of it, that you can actually integrate this under one platform. And imagine the AI assistant is taking decisions for you based on the information being collected from every single aspect of your network. You don't know about the indication of compromises happening, so actually someone or something is actually stepping in and help you to do that. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And I think I love the fact that you mentioned Splunk, because when we start going from AI over into Splunk, it actually really feeds into the AI conversation. I think it's really, really important to understand when we talk AI algorithms, they're only ever as good as the data that you put into it.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely right.
So now if you take, as an example, our security engine, Cisco Talos, right? Leading in the security space, biggest non-governmental threat organization in the world out there.
Yeah.
Right. Without Splunk at the moment, Cisco Talos gets something crazy like 5.5 billion security events a day. Right.
Yeah.
Now you feed that data into AI algorithms plus what they do as a threat research. That throughput level on a human level, what those 500 researchers are able to do, you could 10x that, right? So it turns out that we've got 500 researchers through the power of AI, through all of that data. Those 500 researchers are actually human throughput, like 5,000 people doing work, right?
I completely agree.
So that's massive in the security space. But then now you bring Splunk into the mix, a data company, right? Bringing in all this additional data. You can only imagine where we're going to be going with this, like additional innovation capability. The world, they say AI is humanly sort of the next, we're at that human evolution changing point, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a good thing that you mentioned data, because in the world of cybersecurity, everything is about data. If you think about it, this is the main asset which all the security products in the market are actually being invented to protect. And I remember one of the very good early examples which I've come across when I first got introduced to Cisco Talos, since you mentioned Talos, is that the more data you have, the more visibility you can actually gain. And I remember that some of the use cases which Talos managed to protect against, I think it was Loki ransomware, was just by blocking the IP address range which coming from a specific destination. It didn't know that this was actually Loki ransomware. It just came from an IP address that knows or being classified as a malicious IP address or coming from a destination which is not trusted. And that's why users adapting Talos at that time was protected. So imagine when you get Talos to an XDR platform. So imagine the amount of data this XDR platform, which is Splunk or SIM solution, can actually feed.
And we have our own Cisco XDR solution as well. So you got to bring that together as well.
And imagine, and I'm also thinking about, and I think I've heard somewhere that they're going to be integrating both together, maybe on the roadmap. So this is really, really good because imagining, I'm not sure if most of our partners and customers knows, but most of these information being fed into the security products, and the firewall is one of them.
Yeah.
And once you get this firewall, once you get this data fed into the firewall with the AI assistant, the policy analyzer, it's going to be heaven, if you ask me.
And I think going back to the firewall piece, I think one really important piece that our partners and customers really need to understand, I think sometimes there's a bit of a conception of when they hear Cisco, they think of us as a networking company.
Yeah.
Right. But what's actually really, really important to understand is to be a really good networking company, you have to be a really great security company.
Yeah.
Right. And firewalls is actually the bridge, if you like, from a partner's perspective or a customer's perspective, to go from the networking conversation, bridge over into the security conversation, and then actually opens up, that door to all the other things that we have in our portfolio, So firewall, that's why we say firewall is the foundation of what we do.
I completely agree.
Because it's the bridge that leads you from the networking element into the security landscape, and then you start building like user protection, cloud protection, breach protection, where XDR comes in, right? So you start building those pieces on top. And it's purely what the customers want. And actually, we as a vendor are one of those vendors that can execute on that, right?
I agree. I completely agree. And it's interesting that you mentioned that the firewall is a very important piece, because I've always thought of a firewall that it's an essential piece. It's at the centerpiece of everything. If you go back to the legacy times when we used to have those firewalls, even with the adoption of the cloud and the new technologies comes in, I still think that the firewall is the centerpiece of everything. Because the firewall, think of it, and specifically when it comes to today's firewalls, it's not just any dummy devices. They are actually the brains of the security deployed in any organization. Yeah, of course, you can complement that with a few other products that actually enhance the security posture of an organization. But still, you still need a firewall that is actually capable of delivering that capability of visibility and analysis and data protection, identifying indication of compromises. If you ask me, a firewall is a very essential piece and it's irreplaceable. And I think with what Cisco is doing when it comes to taking their firewalls to the next level is really, really important to our customers to know. Because I think we are bringing the conversation to a whole new level when it comes to how the firewalls are going to be really differentiator when it comes to talking about Cisco firewalls on the market. Do you agree on that?
Yeah. And I think, put us to the test.
Yeah, that's a very good thing.
I think see what innovations we've bought, and very often especially when you start looking at what's in the market, the attention's in the detail, the devil's in the detail.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
And actually understanding, on the face of it, a lot of the times everyone does the same thing, right? But actually thinking at it from a customer's perspective, what do they really need to do in a real world scenario and what's important? That really attention to detail will make the difference. And I think that's what I would happily get partners and customers, invite them actually to have those conversations with us and put those firewalls to the test and actually see firsthand what the innovations are and how they are going to benefit the customers that they're working with.
That's very important. And I think one thing to add here is we had a lot of technologies coming out these days, the Zero Trust Network Access, the SASE, et cetera, et cetera. And I know that, for example, in version 7.4, the Zero Trust Network behavior is included into the firewall, which I don't think a lot of our customers or partners maybe know. And I think it's one of the very good things for partners or end customers to do, as you mentioned, is to put the box to the test. Because maybe sometimes it's going to be a challenge for you to understand what is Zero Trust Network Access, how can you push this into your organization, where you can start. If you do have a firewall as of today, on version 7.4 already on it, you already started the journey. If you talk to us, if you talk to Cisco, I think we can actually better advise our partners and our customers how they can actually put this into perspective, how they can actually make it work, how they can test that Zero Trust Network Access, malware analysis blocking, which is the AI assistant part of. So I think if you already are on 7.4 and looking to the firewall, it's a very good starting point for us and for you to start that journey.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
And I would only encourage partners that are wanting to find out more about generally around what we do in security is to take our Cisco Security Core Security Specialization.
Yeah.
No cost, right? It's a free
Yeah, it's not free of
specialization.
charge, yeah.
They don't have to pay anything, no
Yes.
training. It's self-based learning. And it actually will cover things that we do in the firewall space. Everything that I sort of said around what we do with even Umbrella, Secure Access, Secure Connect, all of those elements that are really at the core of what the customer's wanting to do.
Exactly.
I would just encourage them to actually do that training, right? Get into it, find out exactly what we're
I completely
about.
agree with you, because actually this training is going to help them be able to talk about these products more, be able to position these products more, be able to answer customer questions if they have a specific question about a specific product, and if this is the right product to position. And to be honest with you, if you manage to take that course, you're going to be able to identify the problems better, faster, and you'll be able to position a product for that, right? And Cisco has a vast security portfolio which can actually address the majority of those gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speak to us. I think, use us as
Yeah.
Cisco, use you guys as
Yeah,
Ingram
I
Micro,
agree.
right? And have those conversations. I think let's get a seat at the table. I think
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times hopefully you'll agree. It's like let's
do
just have
agree.
the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And be open around those conversations, because I think a lot of the things, if there are questions out there for partners, I think when we sit on the table with them, we can really have a good conversation and actually clear out a lot of the question marks that they might have.
Yeah, it's very good that you mentioned the bring us to the table thing, because I know that some of the partners maybe struggle with the technicality of some of these products. So I think you can talk to us at Ingram and you can talk to Cisco. We can actually do this conversation on your behalf. We can sit with the customers. We can tell them what the product can do, how they can close these gaps, which will show value, what Cisco can bring to the table and what Ingram can bring to the table. So it's not only, you don't need to have the technical capabilities as a partner. We can actually do that for you. We can sit with you on the table, sit with the customer, understand the customer needs, and be able to take it from there.
I think that's the key. As long as we get the people on the table.
I think at this stage, just to wrap things up, it's really important to encourage our partners to talk to us. Come and join us onto the table. If you have any challenges you need to address, talk to us. We will help you address those challenges. We are actually here to help you. As organization, Ingram is actually here to help partners be able to position and have that confidence when they are talking to the customers. So if you need us, just reach out. We will be able to help you.